Last time. The final aspect of administration is that effective administration helps you synchronize your service with others that love and care about your students. Your students belong to a family, and their family members love them, care about them, and want to know how they're doing in seminary. Your students belong to a ward and a stake, and their ward and stake teachers and leaders love them, care about them, and want to know how they're doing in seminary. You and your students belong to a worldwide organization, Seminaries and Institutes, that is led by a board of education chaired by President Nelson himself and led by apostles and church leaders. And then it is administered locally by seminary and institute leaders and coordinators, all of whom love and care about your students and want to know how they're doing in seminary. And so as you effectively administer, you synchronize your service with all of those that love and care about your students. Let me show you how that's to be done. First and foremost, please make sure that you stay closely connected to the families of your students. You can do this in a couple of different ways. First of all, spend time getting to know the families of your students. During the summer is a great time to do that, whether that's during church or over a phone call or a visit to their home. Get to know your students, especially those that will be new to your class, and get to know their families and let them get to know you. Throughout the year, you'll want to communicate regularly with them, and that goes a lot better if you have built a relationship with them during the summer. Then during the year, make sure you communicate regularly with parents about how their kids are doing in seminary. One way to do that is making sure that you take daily attendance so that when parents go to myseminary.churchofjesuschrist.org, they can check on their students' attendance and participation in seminary. Another aspect of helping parents prepare for seminary is helping them to register their students for seminary. They do that at that same website, myseminary.churchofjesuschrist.org. It's linked below on this page. Don't stress about registration. It is not do or die. It's simply a way for parents to let you know that their students will be in seminary the upcoming year. And for incoming brand new students, it allows their parents to sign all of the parental agreements needed for seminary. Again, that's at myseminary.churchofjesuschrist.org. Second, counsel regularly with your ward and stake leaders. You see these youth more than anyone else in the ward and stake, with the exception of their family. And so you have information to share with their young women's presidencies or with the bishopric. And you also want to know what the young women's presidency and bishoprics know. As you work together with other ward leaders, you can better help students. Of course, if you have a student that has a particular difficulty or trial, your first connection is to the family, but you can also enlist the help of other ward leaders and teachers who love and care about your students. In addition, will you make sure you communicate regularly with your bishop and with your stake leaders about your calling as a seminary teacher? Let them know how you're doing in your calling, let them know what's working well, and let them know if there are any adjustments, changes, or a desired release from your calling early so that they have time to put those changes into place. Finally, please remain aligned with seminary and institute administration, with the policies and the practices that I provide or that come from other church leaders. As we said at the very beginning, focusing on people does not mean that we can set aside policy. Filling our hearts with love does not mean that we can set aside the law. And being filled with charity does not mean that we don't have an obligation to be clear and stay aligned. And so please follow any instructions or guidelines that come from me or from other church leaders so that you can make sure you're aligned and so that we can bring the power of prophetic leadership all the way from the Board of Education down to your seminary classroom. Brothers and sisters, thank you so much for everything that you do and will do this upcoming year for your students. I love you, you love your students, and that your students and your families and the leaders in your ward love and care about you as well. Thank you for all that you do, and God bless.